What's up, guys? Mr. Dan here, back again with another review. This time it's a very interesting and early film from Shaw Brothers, Come Drink With Me, starring Chen Pei. And this is a very influential film. There's really a strong connection between this and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. A lot of people perhaps didn't really realize that Ang Lee was really paying homage to the director of this film, King Hu, and a series of films that he did, which are called Wushu Pian. And I'm going to butcher some pronunciations here, so bear with me. But those are like basically historical swashbuckling epics. And he has a series of films called the In films. I think there's a trilogy, but then he also had another one with a lot of scenes set in and in. Here I go again, saying in and in. I did that in a previous video like 20 times. Anyway, yeah, a lot of this film takes place in and in. And if you remember, in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, there's a scene where a motley band of characters comes in to confront the Zhang Ziyi character in the inn. And, there's a lot of homage in that film to this film. And I'm very curious to see some of the other early films. This film's older than I am. So, usually when we're talking about these early Shaw Brothers films, these were films I was watching when I was a kid. This one never quite made it to TV, I don't think. But yes, and also funny story about Chen Pei. So my wife and I went to see Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She grew up watching a lot of these films. When she emigrated here, she would find the VHS tapes at different Asian grocery stores and so forth. So a lot of what she watched with my kids, especially my oldest daughter, was what she called continue stories. Like these sort of soap operas, like 10-part, 12-part, 100 parts. I don't know. They seemed like they went on forever. We lived in a small apartment. You couldn't get away from them. It would just be forever. I would it was a running joke. I was like, are these going to end? My wife would watch a part, and then my daughter would get home from school and watch the same part. Anyway, so we go to see Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and my wife comes home and says, oh my gosh. And I don't understand exactly what she's saying, but I figured it out. She says to my daughter, the villain, Jade Fox, is a character from one of the Continue stories. So that struck her as funny because the action and the choreography and a lot of the actors and actresses that would be in the TV roles may not necessarily have also been in movies. And just prior to that, Chen Pei had been in a television series, and that's primarily where my wife knew her from. This is such an early film. My wife didn't really make the connection that Chen Pei was a big movie star first. She had actually, at one point, takes a little bit of a break to start a family and then comes back, and she's still active today. But I thought that was kind of funny. So yeah, this is a very influential film. It's really good. It basically just tells the story of a governor's son who was taken hostage by a motley crew of bandits, and they are indeed a sight to see. They've got all kinds of crazy names. Everybody is in this film has like a bunch of crazy names. You got this one guy here, he's like a pasty white complexion, and a lot of them have different facial scars. By the way, this is the alternate art of the Blu-ray. This is the original art, looks like this. Very awesome booklet that this came with. Lots of information in here about King Hu. But you've got characters with names like Smiling Tiger, Jade-Faced Tiger, the Chen Pei character is known as Golden Swallow, and then she also meets a character named the Drunken Cat, played by Yoon Hua, who played Yamamoto in The Line of Duty 3. Okay, if you remember, I had reviewed that film a while back. And he had a very long career with Shaw Brothers. After the kidnapping in the beginning, which is a very good scene, and you see there's some blood in this film. There's some chopped off hands and so forth in this film. Okay, after the opening scene, when the governor's son is taken hostage, then we transition to this inn where this character comes in, Golden Swallow. Now they think she's a male. Okay, I don't. They didn't really go out of her way to make her look like a male at any point. was a little mystified by that. It took me a while to figure out that they were thinking that she was a male for a while. She comes in, and little does she know, all these patrons, most of the patrons in this inn, who are chilling out drinking, are with the bad guys, and they kind of start casting her some suspicious glances, and there's eventually a standoff. They start throwing darts at her. She's deflecting them. She's doing all kinds of crazy things, defying physics, throwing things in the air and skewering them with darts and so forth. She often fights with two knives, which you would think, well, that would be a disadvantage, but she has a way of locking the swords of her enemies, which is kind of interesting. Never really seen that before. And also, in while all this is going on, this beggar walks in, and the manager or whoever is like, "Oh, you better get out of here. There's a fight." And he's just like, "No, I'm good." And he just kind of comes in. It's raining out there. And anyway, turns out he's got crazy skills too, and there's a lot more to him than lets on. And he has a sort of a connection to the bad guys in a way. Eventually, and I've seen this in other films too, that were made much later with Shaw Brothers. Eventually, the Golden Swallow character, is hit with a poison dart after dodging, like thousands of things, darts and spears and all kinds of stuff. She's eventually hit with a poison dart, and she has to rely on the drunken beggar for help. And I'm not really going to even go into the story much more than that. It's just a very good story overall. Really good action. Pretty decent humor. Almost kind of a mystery in a way. And it's really good. And you can just see so many of the influences in later films came from this film and films like this. It's really interesting to see. Almost like if you're a fan of the later Shaw Brothers films in the 70s, you really got to check this out, because you're going to learn a lot from this one. And let me just jump in here. I realized I never really told you the purpose of the Golden Swallow character. She is obviously, in case you hadn't figured it out, she's there to investigate the kidnapping of the governor's son. That's why she's there. Okay. And while I'm at it, before the video wraps up, let me just mention, I'm just looking at Arrow here. There's another channel out there I just wanted to give a shout out to. He's got a phenomenal collection. He's a big collector. When I had showed this in a haul video, he actually said that he had seen it and that it was good. He does like his martial arts films, among many other genres. But of course, I'm talking about Leon from Cult Flicks Fix 24. Check out his channel for all kinds of Arrow films, Vinegar Syndrome, all kinds of good stuff from multiple genres. And I'm looking forward to seeing some more films from King Hu, and who died, I believe, a few years before Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon came out. But yeah, can't recommend this enough, especially if you're a Shaw Brothers fan or a martial arts fan. Check it out. Have you guys seen Come Drink With Me? And what are your thoughts? Later.